This is a Caprino studio production, and I'm your host, Arun Sridhar. On behalf of all of us in the production team, I want to welcome you to another episode of our immersive production. So please wear your headphones or use an appropriate sound device to listen to the podcast. It is only right that you get to hear the episode in the way we intended it to be. Let's start then, shall we? When I was in school in the 1980s in Madras, yes, I still refer to it by its English name, general knowledge or GK was mandatory in schools. One of the most frequently asked questions was this: while the British were ruling the majority of India, there were certain French-occupied regions that came out of an agreement between the French and the British. Name them was the question. And the answer to that were the port cities of Pondicherry, Karaikal, Mahe, Yanam and Chandernagore, which almost every other student knew at the top of his or her head. But why am I telling you this, you ask? Well, that's because we are going to talk about one such French colony today, Mahe. The serene town of Mahe welcomes a considerable number of avid travelers each year. Sitting at the mouth of the Mahe River and surrounded by the magnificent Kannur district from three sides, Mahe makes it to the bucket list of many travel goers. As for history buffs, you might be interested to know that before the arrival of the European trading companies in the Indian subcontinent, this area was part of Kolattanadu, which comprised Tulunadu, Chirakkal and Kadattanadu, a region of socio-cultural uniqueness encompassing as it did the entire Malayalam, Kannada and Tulu-speaking regions. However, current records show that Mahe is one of the 4 districts of the Union Territory of Puducherry in India. The town is a great confluence of history and culture, but it has more to offer than what meets the eye. Before we go any further, a quick trivia about the town. If you're a fan of Bruce Willis's The Sixth Sense, which was nominated for not 1 but 6 Academy Awards, you'd be happy to know that film writer and director M. Night Shyamalan was born in Mahe. Unlike Haley Joel Osment's character in the movie, if we could speak to the dead, we would come to know that beyond the picturesque French architecture, Mahe was once home to an unlikely hero. A hero who had a unique story of valor to tell from the Second World War. A story that's sadly lost from the annals of our history. But you don't have to worry about not having Haley Joel Osment's gifts. If you want to know about Mahe's long-lost secret, I've got that covered for you. From Caprino Studio, this is A Road Less Traveled, a podcast that seeks to dig deep into our collective archives to take you on a journey to show you how stories about India, Indians, and foreigners that are relatively unknown and underappreciated have changed and impacted our lives, society, and culture. Come along with us as we seek to hold your hands and travel through this amazing journey, paired with our own brand of unique storytelling, thoughtful music, and sound design to inspire, engage, and entertain you. If we have crossed paths before, a warm welcome back to you. For those who are new, there is only one way to get to know us and the stories. Get stuck right in and join us as we sail through this adventure together. Let's get started, shall we? I'm your host, Arun Sridhar. Historically, Mahe isn't stranger to conflicts. Since the 18th century, when the French built their first fort in town, the shift of power between 2 supreme colonial forces, the British and the French, had seen considerable bloodshed. Then, at the turn of the 20th century, native Indians felt the need for their long overdue liberation. Thus, a resistance group called the Youth League of French India was founded and run by students of local colleges. This is where the hero of our story comes in. a young Malayali student of College Francais, going by the name Michelotte Madhavan. Despite having shown great prospects in academics, the values of equality and fraternity drove Madhavan to join the revolution. The drive became even stronger when Mahatma Gandhi visited Mahe to seek support from the locals for his newly found organization, Harijan Sevak Sangh. The goal of this organization was to eradicate untouchability through the upliftment of those marginalized within society. Madhavan became heavily influenced by Mahatma's words and made it his mission to create a society free from superstition. He started to work as a part-time teacher in an evening school created for deprived scheduled caste children. Things took an unexpected turn when Madhavan got the opportunity to specialize in his field of study at the revered Sorbonne University in Paris. The timing could not have been worse, as Hitler had just annexed France in June 1940. The boy who once spread awareness to form resistance against the French back in India now felt the need to save France from the same tormenting fate. His undying revolutionary zeal persuaded him to join the French Communist Party and build underground operations to help resistance fighters against the Nazi invaders. Needless to say, it was a suicide mission. Against the Gestapo, hardly anyone had survived, and Madhavan wasn't going to be one of them. On 9th March 1942, the pro-Nazi special brigades arrested him for being the chief coordinator behind the constitution of a resistance group at the Lycée Bouffon School in Paris, and for distributing anti-Nazi pamphlets. Upon hearing the news of his arrest, Madhavan's girlfriend, Giselle Mollet, a maid in a hotel in Paris, rushed to his university hostel room to clear it of all pamphlets stacked there. But by the time she reached there, it was too late. The police had already raided the room and found what they were looking for. Mollet was arrested from the scene for being a co-conspirator and transferred to the notorious Auschwitz concentration camp. She died there soon after. Believe it or not, in a faraway land amongst foreigners, an Indian boy from Mahe turned out to be the terrifying Gestapo's high-value target. When the Gestapo took charge of Madhavan's fate, they decided against handing him over to the Nazi military court for a trial, which one would have thought to be the obvious next course of action. This is because the Gestapo was certain that Madhavan and his followers were planning something bigger, and they wanted to know all. But what was his plan? Who else were behind his resistance group? Were they planning a surprise attack? The questions were plenty, but the answers were unknown to the Gestapo at the time. Madhavan was transferred from the Church Midi prison to the Romainville fort in the August of 1942. And Gestapo implemented the only way they knew to draw answers out of him. Torture. Unbearable, inhuman torture. It didn't work though. Madhavan was far too strong to break for the Gestapo. Then in September 1942, a bomb blast at the Rex Cinema Hall in Paris shook the entire city. Amongst the casualties, there were 2 Nazi officers. It was evident to the Gestapo that the brain behind this bombing was Madhavan. A few days later, on the morning of 21st September, he along with 115 other prison inmates were boarded in a van and taken to Mont Valérien. Along the way, they all sang La Marseillaise, the French national anthem.
De la patrie, le jour de gloire est arrivé. Allons enfants de la patrie, le jour de gloire est arrivé. Allons enfants de la patrie, le jour de gloire est arrivé. Allons enfants de la patrie, le jour de gloire est arrivé.
Upon reaching the site, they were hog-tied to poles and weren't even allowed the mercy of a blindfold. At 10:47 a.m., a shower of bullets rained through the guns of the Nazi police and shredded all 116 lives, including that of a 28-year-old Madhavan. At this point, you might be thinking, why did I say unique at the start of the story? What is so unique about it? Being an allied force of the British Empire, close to 3 million people lost their lives during the Second World War. Madhavan would just be another name out of these 3 million. But that's not it. According to multiple historical records, Michelotte Madhavan remains the only Indian civilian to be executed by the Nazis. What's even stranger is that you will not find a single mention of Madhavan in Mahe or anywhere in the pages of Indian history. His name remains restricted to the horrifying books published by the Nazi death camp survivors and in the memories of his fellow prison inmate, Pierre Serge Chomot. Why the Mahe administration chose to neglect him will forever remain a mystery. While we can only speculate today, we have to wonder why Michelotte Madhavan never revealed to his Nazi captors that he was Indian. If he had done so, it would have surely secured his release from the infamous Gestapo jail. Why did he die as a French sympathizer? Whatever may be the reason, Madhavan's story of an audacious courage deserves much more. He cannot and should not remain another forgotten hero. I'm sure with this story, he will remain entrenched in your hearts, just as he is in mine.
You've just listened to a Caprino studio production. Our stories were written and edited with the valuable help of Bhattacharya. The impeccable compositions that you listened to were performed by Dr.ShivaShankar, and the sound design was done by myself and our wonderful sound engineer, Mr. Swaminathan ThiruGnanaSambandam. Look up our show notes and don't forget to follow us on Instagram and ensure you get all the updates on our WhatsApp channel. We will see you soon with more stories. Until then, stay well.